Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new, welcome. My name is Mandy and my favorite color is green. And that doesn't pertain to just one area of my life. I have green dishes, I have green clothes, I have green makeup. Green is the color for me. And I quite honestly don't care what shade of green it is. So because I feel like I've been wearing a lot of green shadow lately and I've gotten a lot of compliments, I thought I would just come on and give a culmination of some of my favorite green makeup products. Clearly they're all eyeshadow, right? Like I don't own a green blush or lipstick, but I wanted to share all the different eyeshadows and eyeliners, liquids and powders that I like using. And then I'll take you step by step through this eye look that I did today. I'll cut away when I talk about the products that I used. And I will say, if you're someone who thinks you can't wear green makeup, I highly suggest giving at least one of the techniques that I showed today in the video a try. Because I often find when I do makeup lessons on people who don't know how to wear color and they're scared and they just think they can't do it, they think they're not young enough to do it, or they've been told they shouldn't, or they just don't feel comfortable, there are different ways to do it without having to go full out like I have today. But I really just wanted to use as many products as possible. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first green product I used on my eye today is the most recent one that I have talked about on my channel, and it is the liquid shadow from Gen C. Now technically this is described as a burnt or antique gold, which it is, and it looks way more like that when I swatch it than it does when I apply it on the eyes, but an antique gold can often lean green. Very high shine when I swatch it, but you'll see in the cutaway that once I kind of blend it out, the shine does simmer down some. And the reason I didn't layer this over each other, because if you do put 2 to 3 layers on, the sheen comes out more, is because I topped it with another shadow, but it still is a very pretty green shade. And I think the fact that it isn't as shiny on the eyes as it is swatched is actually not going to be a deterrent for a lot of people, because they don't want a lot of shimmer or metallic look to their eyes. I love the formula of this. It is something I've worn in quite a few videos this past month, and is kind of the catalyst for this video, because this eyeshadow, when I wore it, was what caused so many people to say, I love your eyeshadow today. So definitely a huge love of mine. Now, before I put that on, I did apply my Chanel shadow in Rose Charnel. And I just wanted to talk about this quickly, because I do find that when you're using color like a green, having a contrast in like a peach or a pink is so much more poppy and really makes that green stand out more than using like a neutral brown. I understand using a brown might be more comfortable, especially if you're not used to using green shadow, but I love using a pink or a peach when using any types of greens on my eyes. I'll go ahead and finish out the shadows and then we'll talk about liners. I topped the Gen C shadow with this shade from Make Beauty, and this is a newer shade to me, but it's not a new product. This is the multi-chromatic metal reflecting eyeshadow in the shade Surplus. I have 2 other shades in this formula and love it, but this is the green. So you can see right there, this Gen C looks even more antique gold next to Surplus when you see the green that comes out in this Make shadow. It has a little bit of a gold duochrome to it, and you can make it way more metallic looking using your finger than just using a brush. And for today's look, I just used a brush and I stippled it on top of that Gen C eyeshadow, and it's not over the top shiny. I mean, it's shiny, it's metallic shadow, but I don't find it makes any of the creases in my eyes stand out or anything like that, and it is such a pretty green shade. One that I don't have anywhere else in my collection. Now let's talk about 2 matte green shadows that I love, one of which I used in one of my full face of MAC videos. This is a matte shadow for MAC called Mo Money, Mo Problems. So it's right here. And this is definitely what I would describe as a mustard green color. Like, it has kind of a gross undertone to it, almost like Uninterrupted from MAC, but once it goes on the eyes, it's so pretty. And today I use this as a very subtle liner on my lower lash line. And then here's another tip: if you don't want something too colorful, so just take your crease shade like I did, and I use that to blend out that Mo Money, Mo Problems on my lower lash line, and took that shade all the way into my inner corner. That way it's not all green, but it still has that kind of ombre effect to it. And you're keeping in line with the rest of your eyes using the same color used in your crease. And then finally, this is the Victoria Beckham. I get why they don't have the names of the palettes on the cases, right? Because they're refillable. But this is called Olive, her quad in Olive. And this shade right here is a beautiful dark emerald green. And you can see up next to Mo Money, Mo Problems, what I was talking about, having that like mustardy undertone next to that very emerald green shade. What I did with this was I took it and just a little bit on my outer corner, deepened up the liner that I had already applied and gave the tiniest bit of an uplift with like a minuscule little wing, just to give a little bit of deepness to the outer corner without making it a full-on smoky eye and giving an uplifting effect to the eye as well. The last shadow I'm gonna talk about is actually a shadow stick, and it is from MAC. I did not use this today, but I have used it in the past if you wanna search my channel. And this is called Filthy Martini. This is more of a teal green. See, it definitely has more blue. These are all very different greens. So I like how it gives you an idea of the spectrum of colors you can use and still use a green eye or still have a green eye. But that is Filthy Martini from MAC. And then this one is technically like an eyeliner slash eyeshadow. It's from Chanel. It's their, oh, I gotta go get my sourdough out of the oven. Sorry about that. Okay, the only other things I have to talk about are liners, and they do differ in color, although some are similar, so I'll go through them quickly. The most recent ones I talked about were the Gen C liner in Miami, because I included this in my favorites, and it's gonna go right next to that Gen Z liquid shadow, which I used a makeup wipe on, and all of it didn't come off. So that's Miami. I used this, I did not use this on camera because I thought about doing it afterwards, and I put it in my lower waterline. So that's what I have on in my lower waterline. And then this is Minted from MAC, which is very similar. I kind of put them way close together. Sorry about that, but it is extremely similar. I swatched both of them in my favorites video because they are basically the same shade. And these have more of a teal, so have a little bit of blue within the green. Then there is the Make Beauty Continuum Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in Emerald. And you'll be able to see compared to the other how much blue those other ones have in it, because that is a deep emerald shade. I love these Make Beauty liners, but they don't give you a ton of playtime. So if you want something smudged out, then you're gonna wanna use the next one that I'm gonna talk about. But if you want something that absolutely goes nowhere, pretty much the second you apply it, this is gonna be your best friend. Victoria Beckham wins the game for me in eyeliners in general, but especially if you like smoking out or smudging out your eyeliner. This is in the shade Olive, and when I took all of my Victoria Beckham pencils and put them next to each other, I think I have 5 or 6 shades at this point. This one is the shortest. So clearly I'm using it the most right now, and it definitely has even more of an olive undertone than the emerald, which tracks given its name. This olive is almost a green brown. It has somewhat of a mustardy type warm undertone similar to the Mo Money, Mo Problems. It still shows up green, but once I smudge it out, it's not as overtly green as these other ones that I have swatched so far. But it doesn't make me like it any less. And then finally, this is the Chanel. I have it covered up with my date that I started using it. It's their long-lasting eyeliner in Vert Lagon. It's only got one O. And this one is more in line with the first two that I swatched, with a little bit less blue in it, which I'm not quite sure if that's going to come across on camera or not, but it does have a little bit less blue in it than the first two I swatched. Currently, those are all of my green eyeliners, and at least that I know of, the majority of the green shadows, especially the ones that I'm reaching for right now. Okay, I just used a makeup wipe. That's the Make Beauty. That's what I mean when I say it will not go anywhere once you apply it until you use makeup remover. And I'm really having to scrub with this makeup wipe, and it's still not wanting to come off all the way. Definitely wins for longest lasting. I hope this incentivized some of y'all to use green, or just really any color that you may have seen and been like, oh, I wish I could wear that color. You can wear that color. It's just a matter of technique and finding which color out of the range suits you best. So I will have all the products that I use listed and linked down below. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have a favorite green makeup product, please share it down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, and I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.